Welcome to the in-depth build guide of the Atziri's rule Frostbolt Stormweaver. Firstly, we're showing off the basic concept of this build. The weapon Atziri's rule gives you a +5 to level of all spell skill gems, as well as tons of extra physical damage. And it requires you to gems are corrupted and spell must cost life. So I use the blood transfusion passive skill to convert some of the mana cost to the life cost. So you get 100% extra physical damage. And extra physical damage is still boring. So as you use the Frostbolt, you may want to convert them into the cold damage using Embitter support. And this support converts all of extra damage to the cold damage. So extra physical damage, extra chaos damage, anything can be converted into the cold damage with this support. And most importantly, the Atziri's rules gives you a skill, Mirror of Reflection. So this Mirror of Reflection spawns this totem-like stone every 2.1 seconds or so. And this, when you hit this stone with projectile spell, any projectile spell, it spreads into the many projectiles. In this case, there's a 9 projectiles. So these are spread into 9 projectiles, and after short travel, they automatically exploded. And core concept of this build is using a frost wall, just destroy everything into one and overlap this AoE damage as much as possible. Talking about the AoE, I took both of the major AoE node on the tree and using a magnified area to support for the result of 3.5 meter radius. This is pretty enough for more than 10 overlap happens every time you hit the mirror. So you can estimate the DPS like 10 times more than this. Like every shotgun against boss monsters resulted in 1 million to 2 million damages. So you can guess the real DPS of this build is. And we cannot forget talking about the number of projectiles you fire. You basically have Snake Pit equipped. This is pretty important because without the Snake Pit, the projectile of the Frostbolt is always pierced. But with Snake Pit equipped, this item has projectile from spells cannot pierce. So disable the Frostbolt to pierce, and with equipping this item to the left slot, you get fork. So fork causes the projectile to split into the 2 projectiles on hit each target. And with split shot anointed on the amulet, you got 75% chance for additional projectile when forking. So this results in the 75% to get a 3 projectile when hit the target. Also, I got the Thane Gift of Rune Wildness and some corruption on Snake Pit. You have 35% chance for the spell skill to fire 2 additional projectiles, like it's pretty difficult to see, but yeah, sometimes it fires 3 projectiles. So next, I have to talk about why Stormweaver. You can say your spell cost light, so you can go for the Blood Mage, or maybe you think of like new ascendancies, like this is Disciple for the, like you can equip the focus on your off one, so you can Raspis Robe, so get you tons of damages, Or maybe you pick a druid for the extra like spirit, or an oracle for the more extra damages. But why Stormweaver is pretty simple. Its defense was offensively and defensively good. So of course you get the 2 shock you can inflict. So it causes a 33 or 34% shock against any target. So boss combined 68% increased damage taken is pretty huge. And most importantly, you got always Alchemy Surge. So it gives a cast speed and 20% more mana regeneration rate. But this is not the same because I convert all mana regeneration rate from Alchemy Surge into the life regeneration using Sanguinmantic rituals. So with combined with the Zero Oath and this Alchemy Surge life regeneration conversion, you got almost 500 life recovery per second to boss, life, and energy shield. And of course, you got some regeneration of mana. So you have pretty enough hitable for your build because you can take damages from all energy shield, life, and mana. Then let's go through the rare equipment quickly. So this is all rare equipment I currently equipped except belt. And everything is pretty singular as this got maximum life, maximum mana, life regeneration per second, and just resistances. And of course, don't forget some spread on the body armor or the amulet. Lastly, let's go through the skills and the support gems quickly. So of course, the main skill Frostbolt has considered casting, deliberation, the embitter, magnified area, and Sion's temper. This is mainly focused on AoE and damage and extra projectiles. The next Frostbomb. This is pretty depth buff for the bossing. You got cooldown recovery, prolonged duration, and a potent exposure. So you can get a huge exposure up to 60% to the tougher bosses. The Frostbolt is deepest energy, so you can just explode and overwrap everything you can. And you got a total support, cooldown recovery support, spell cascade. So basically embitter, you got embitter too here too for the some amount of damages. But the main focus is creating as much Frostbolt as possible. And the last support is called exposure. So you can get exposure against any opponents. Like you just facing a rare, tougher rare, you just press Frostbolt and this explodes into the full exposure. And Spirit Gems, first thing is Blasphemy with Elemental Weakness. Of course, Elemental Weakness corrupted too for the +5 rebels. Heightened Curse, Ritualistic Curse called Mastery. This is pretty straightforward for the like 90 Spirit reserved. And another is Mana Remnant. It is just the purpose of the defensive purpose. Just getting more mana on your pool, so you're tougher. And using a Vitality 2 support for the more life regeneration to your character. And some of you wondering why you don't use a cast on crit or the cast on element to element, or the using a like Comet, or maybe additional Frostbolts, or maybe some kind of support skills like Storm and Tangle. This is pretty simple. That does not work well with this build. You got no like extra meta skill gain energy stuff, or the trigger spell increase damage thing. So your COC, COEA is pretty ineffective to this build. So if you want to use cast on element element, it's still good, working good. But I'm focusing on getting a blasphemy because I just want to automate the element of weakness. The casting element of weakness yourself is kind of boring and pretty bad, to be honest. So that's pretty it for this build's guide. It's pretty enough. This build is pretty simple, just focusing on pushing every resource into defense and the extra projectiles, extra AoE for the extra damage. It's pretty straightforward. And this build is pretty clearing so fast, and effortlessly clearing the enemy paths because there's projectiles everywhere on map. And you can as well do bosses for more damage. So rest of the video is just a clearing map showcase. So thanks for listening. I'm thinking of building another build this week, so wait for that. See ya.
Victory is mine. Some take what is offered. I take what is earned.
King needs